Hello, everyone. I am meteorologist Hutch Johnson joining you. There's been going on a shift in the jet stream as we head into the weekend, closing out the month of February. What has been fairly quiet weather and very warm weather in the Central Plains will continue for a few days, but then we have a big shift taking place. Here's what this video is going to focus on. We have not one, not two, but three storm systems that concurrently look like they will hit into the west coast of the United States, bringing significant snow back to the northern Rockies, the Cascades, as well as the Pacific Northwest. Central Rocky Mountains can expect to see a couple of potential significant winter events as well. As these storms work their way out of the Rockies and into the plains, they will head toward the Great Lakes, the northeastern United States, with at least one, if not two, chances of significant snowy weather as well, and a risk as they move into the southern plains of severe weather as we go through the next couple of weeks. So we're going to get started right now with a look at what's behind me. Number one, that is a look at a forecast model. Let's go ahead and take a look at that model, and we'll take a look at the active watches and warnings as we get started. Here you can see a track, and one of the interesting things with regard to this is these storm systems that are working their way off of the Asian continent up toward the Gulf of Alaska and then sliding down into the Pacific Northwest. This is a huge change in the track over the last several days. They were streaming across northern parts, the Northwest Territories, the Yukon, and then hitting the northeastern part of the United States, as well as Quebec and Canada. Now there's a shift. They're diving straight south into the Pacific Northwest. So that shift means more active weather for you as well. And we already have active warnings that have been placed, and watches, I should say, as well, for wintry weather. Here's a look at the severe winter weather watches that are in effect right now. Now, we do have winter storm watches all the way from near Victoria in the state of Washington. A look at this shows the National Weather Service is expecting between 1 and possibly close to 2 feet of snow in places with gusts over 40 miles per hour. A significant storm for northern and western Washington. Get down towards Yakima and the southern part of Washington. Here's what the National Weather Service is saying there. We're talking about total snow accumulations between 1 and 2 feet of snow. And that's a lot of snow. Again, gusty winds for the passes near Snoqualmie Pass. Get down near Bend, Oregon, and the snowfall potential with these storms and outside of Salem is increasing as well. As we take a look at what the Weather Service says, we are expecting upwards of a foot of snow in the lower elevations, but 2 feet of snow potentially in some spots with wind gusts to 50 miles per hour. When is this happening? We're talking Sunday and into Monday. So some quiet weather ahead, but already the National Weather Service putting out watches for this weather. These watches extend into the northern Rockies of Idaho, out into western Montana, near Missoula. So as we take a look at what the Weather Service is anticipating potentially with these storms looking way out in the future, the I-90 corridor, they're expecting to get whacked with some snow Sunday and into Monday, anywhere from 1 to 2 feet of snow lower in the valley floors and gusts to 65 miles per hour. Let's take a look at the snowfall forecast as we turn off some of the watches and warnings coordinating with these particular storms. And let's get right to some model comparisons. Now, models I will advertise to you. Basically, something to keep in mind, I'm showing you three models. These are not going to happen identically to what the models are saying is going to happen. We're looking for consistency from model to model, and we're also going to take these things with a grain of salt the farther out in the future that we get. But at least it gives us a heads up to the big time changes that are coming our way. Let's take a look. I invite you to throw down a comment, and in the comment, please let me know where you're watching from. I see we have J.L. Toth here watching from Bismarck, North Dakota. Barbara, good to have you on board from Grand Forks, East Grand Forks, North Dakota. Actually, East Grand Forks is in Minnesota. And, well, Crookston, Minnesota, checking in. Teresa, thank you so very much. If you have a question, we'll go ahead and address that there. Let me know, and I'll actually ask you to go ahead and throw in. Yeah, I'm typing while I'm talking here. Your location, because I love to see where the audience is, and if you have questions, I'm a meteorologist and I love to address what your concerns are with the active weather pattern. Let's take a look at this forecast model. This one that you're looking at right here is the American model. So we're going to take a look and highlight the time frames of when things are going to be hitting the West Coast. Then we'll focus a little bit on the East Coast, and then we'll compare the other models. Watching from Detroit Lakes and also in Moorhead, hi Denise, and hi 73 CJMN. Good to have you on board. Now let's put this puppy into motion. Things are quiet through the weekend for most areas, okay? And we have some very mild weather that's going to hit the plains. Record highs once again in the central plains and northern plains of the United States, where Fargo, North Dakota, right here where I am broadcasting from, has had record highs the last 2 days. That warmth is going to continue. Now, as we head into the weekend, Sunday, look what hits the Pacific Northwest coming down from the Gulf of Alaska, this storm system. It's going to bring rain. There's another system heading into Southern California with some more wet rain, wet weather for you, and elevated snow in the mountains of the Santa Ana chain. This first round of snow, Sunday and Monday, it's going to spread into places like Idaho, Utah, Colorado, all the way into parts of the northern plains as we head into early next week. A dash of snow possible for the Dakotas and into parts of Wyoming as we begin the new work week. Then, as we close out the month, you can see the date at the top. We're still in February here. This system slides out into the plains and will really focus, it looks like, on the Great Lakes area. Down to the south, though, now we're talking Tuesday and Wednesday here, folks. That's going to be the 27th, 28th. There's going to be a risk for some severe thunderstorms in the southeast. The Storm Prediction Center has been eyeballing that with a risk of storms. I will show you where the concern is the greatest for the risk of severe weather. We'll turn on the outlook for days 4 through 8 here. And we'll put this, I think it's day 6 and day 5. So yeah, there is quite an aerial coverage of storms as we go into the middle of next week, Tuesday and Wednesday, a risk for severe storms in the Central Plains. Okay, that's a highlight on that. We'll go ahead and turn that off so that is no longer visible and clogging up the forecast map. So we're through the middle part of the week, severe storms in the central and southern plains, some snow working its way out of the Great Lakes. And as I take a look at the West Coast, here comes round number 2. So this storm makes its way toward the East Coast. Rain for everybody and snow for some in the Northeast as it progresses off as we head toward the last few hours of the month. See it work its way off. There could be some snow in places like Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, and the elevated terrain of the Appalachians, the northern Appalachians. And here comes round 2 for you. This now is timed for the 29th as we close out the month next Thursday. Another wet and snowy system for the Pacific Northwest moves in. Again, number 2. Watching where this one goes, though, it's going to dive and continue its trek into the Central Rockies right here. See that? There it is, Central Rockies with a chance of snow as we begin the new month in the first week. Hey, it's good to have you on board there. It looks like S. Reef. Thanks for joining from the Fargo-Moorhead area, and it's a pleasure to talk to you about the weather today. Central Rockies snow with this system is possible. This is getting a little bit far out. Watch what's happening down in the Gulf Coast states here in this similar time frame. A few showers and storms rumbling through. This particular storm is advertising on this model heading toward the Great Lakes with all the warm weather. It's rain in the northern plains, not snow, which is atypical. But you know what? We're starting meteorological spring on the 1st of March as well. Here comes storm number 3. This is a wet one working its way off of the California coast. And look at the second storm that worked its way into the Northeast, bringing a chance of snow there. As this wave moves out of Los Angeles, as we go through the 6th of the month, it looks like it's going to make its way over the Rockies and become something as well. A much more active pattern for many across the United States, and it certainly looks like the West Coast and the northeastern United States will be impacted. But also, it's that time of year to keep our head on with regards to the severe weather risk with severe summer type weather in the deep south. Now, we've looked at this American model showing the timing of the storms. Let's take a look at another model, shall we, just to take a quick comparison at what's going on here. And I will go ahead and center this up and put it up on your screen. Now, this one will let you know the timing of it as we go through. Again, these models, what we're looking for is there agreement between the models in how they're timing these systems off the East Coast and West Coast. So my cursor is circling the West Coast of the United States. Take a look at the timing of the wave. We get through the weekend here, and I'm going to pause this on Sunday night. This is Sunday night and a Monday morning. First wave of snow hitting the Pacific Northwest. Snow-Qualmy Pass down through the mountains of Bend, Oregon, heading into the northern Rockies. That system will dive into Colorado, and look at this, splitting with some Colorado snow, Wyoming snow, as well as Great Lakes snow. So this European model does not have a solid wall of snow from the Great Lakes to Colorado, but a couple of focused areas. This storm does consolidate a little bit of its energy as it works its way eastward. Here's your severe storm risk. Do you see this? This timestamp is Tuesday night and again into Wednesday as we go through the southeast. Look at that cold front take the cold air all the way to the deep south. So a big cool off for you. The only snow impact with this system on the European model is going to be in the extreme northeastern United States. We're talking northern Maine. That's about it. There comes storm number 2. Yep, this model has it too as we head into the midweek, Thursday, Friday time frame. And this one, a little bit more of a southerly trajectory. Look at that. There's a second wave that comes in with that storm. So it literally could snow from Saturday, the 2nd of March, all the way through. Here comes that second wave. Sunday. So a good couple days of snow spreading into the northern Rockies and the northern plains. That's as far out as the European model goes out for now. So there is some consistency between models on that first particular storm that works its way through, and that's important to take note of. Now, one more model, shall we? Again, the consensus of the models is Pacific Northwest gets wave 1. It starts this weekend, Sunday, Monday. Heavy snow potential. We showed you the forecast from the local National Weather Service offices. That storm system will work its way into the central plains as we get into the middle of next week, Tuesday, Wednesday. Severe weather potential in the southern and central plains. So make sure you review your severe summer weather plans as we close out the month of February. Now we have a bonus model for you. We're going to take a look at this one. Today, rather than pulling up the old German model, we're going to take a look at what the Canadian model says. Looking at a third model will give us an opportunity to see, well, is there the third model might put the weight a little bit more on one side or the other with where that second storm makes landfall and where it heads into the Rockies. Let's take a look, shall we? Here we go. As we take this full, we'll go ahead and show you the time frame here, getting through the weekend. Here's Sunday night. Boom, the snow makes its way in. Boy, this one is Sunday night right there. A little bit more of a northerly track with this low from this particular model here. Let me center this up just a little bit so we can see the other coast, and we'll pull it a bit north so we can see the southern plains. So the track of this low a little bit farther to the north, and the snow impacts, well, they look similar. Diving into Colorado, Utah, Northern California, as well as Northern Nevada as we go into the day on Tuesday, the 27th. That storm system focuses snow, and look at that. It's a solid band of snow from the Great Lakes into Colorado, and a lot of wind with this, and very cold air. This cold, dry air is going to mingle with the southeastern United States and bring a risk for severe thunderstorms. Here it is. This is Wednesday. So this model a little slower in evolving that. Maybe Tuesday night, Wednesday, a chance of that. And it's more robust with the widespread snow as well on the East Coast. So that's what the Canadian model is saying. There are some significant differences on the East Coast with this one model. It's the only one showing snow from basically Maine straight south into the Virginias and maybe even parts of the Carolinas, North Carolina. Here comes round 2. This happens on Thursday. Okay, so there is round 2. There is consensus. All 3 models have a second storm making its way into the Pacific Northwest. And there's a third one that dives into California as well. So these models are showing some signs of consistency. It looks like to me these are our conclusions. Here we go. As we wrap this up, number 1, we're going to see some snow late weekend into the early part of next week. It's going to impact the Pacific Northwest. That storm will bring severe weather potential Tuesday and Wednesday as we head into the southern plains. There'll be a chance of some snow in the northern plains and the Colorado Rockies as we go from the time frame of Tuesday to Wednesday. And that cold blast of air is going to work its way down to the Gulf Coast as we work our way through the week. That storm system will make its way to the East Coast. Models are not in agreement about that as we close out next week, heading into Thursday. So watch for at least a chance of snow. It looks like Maine, a better chance, right? Get down into the central or mid-Atlantic states, not as much of a chance of snow, but that Canadian model, the outlier out there, saying that there may be. Now, heading out further as we close out late next week, Storm 2 makes its way on. It's the Pacific Northwest. Another one moves in off coastal California. They kind of congeal in the central Rockies, and that one will be very interesting to watch as well. And you can bet I'll do that right here. Again, my name is Hutch Johnson. I'm a meteorologist here in the Northern Plains that's been broadcasting weather for the better part of 30 years. I've taught meteorology at the college level for the better part of 20 years, and I love talking to you about the weather, checking out your questions here in real time so you can get a feel. Albert is joining from Winnipeg, Manitoba, and you have a much stormier forecast ahead, but boy, have we been enjoying some mild weather here and very dry this winter. I sure appreciate all of you watching. I appreciate your likes on the video. That helps me a great deal. And one other thing you can do if you want, check out some of my other videos. I've got forecast videos on there. I'm going to do one of the update on the drought, an amazing improvement to drought conditions in portions of the country while it is expanding in other portions. We'll look at that later. But for now, if you do want to follow Hutch, check me out on my Facebook page. That's more local weather to the Northern Plains, but I'd sure love to have you stop by. Give me your thoughts. Let me know where you're watching from in the comments. And again, as we close this out, I really appreciate all of your support right here on Hutch's Weather. I'm Hutch Johnson. You have a wonderful weekend and get ready for a stormy switch to our pattern closing out February and heading March along the West Coast and in the Central and Southern Plains, even the Northern Plains getting a chance for some